Hello, welcome to this video. So in this video, I show you how I took this random design of an online code editor and I turned it into a live one, okay? And we just did this from scratch, okay? It has both DAX support and light mode, and you can see how nice it looks and it works. So you can see here we have this editor. You can first of all select the language you want. Okay, right now we are inside JavaScript, and you can see here on the screen I have two functions, the sum function and the create user function, and you can just go ahead and run this and it simply gives you this. I could modify maybe the name, something else. Let me just say this so that we can just know this works. I can create even one more, maybe age, which is going to be 30, like so. Let's just go ahead and run this. Okay, so you can see now we have all this. You can just go turn into PHP, or you can just go and turn into Python, and you can see we have a function here, sum, and you can return all this. You can just go and run this, and you can see it runs 7, and we did this for all the languages, the Golang, Java, C++, any of this one we can do it. So if you just want to see how we build it, just simply jump in. Let's get started. Hello, welcome to this video. So in today's video, we're just going to build an online code editor. So this is one of the projects you can show on your portfolio, and it is a really big project, and I wish to expand on this project in the future. So that's why I want to really build it. So I haven't built it yet. I have no idea if I can pull it off. I'm just copying the design, or inspired by this guy, Paragat. It seems Paragat Singh Danjar. Sorry if I pronounced it not well, but after looking at this design, I looked like we can do this. Okay, it would be a really nice project if we pull this off. Okay, so at the end of the video, want to have something like this whereby we can select a language here, maybe C++. You write some snippet, and then afterwards you can just simply get this. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is I have a new Next.js app here. Okay, you can just start by creating a new Next.js app by running npx create next app, and you can have this running. I'm just going to go into the page. I will just go here and I say RFC, and I'm just going to put here home. Okay, and then I'm just going to put h2 as online code editor, as like that. So if I just go back here, we just have online code editor here. So let's just go ahead and create a to-do app. So I'm just going to go and create a file called to-do, to-do.md. These days I use this one to see or to plan how you're going to build the app. Somehow it helps. I'm just going to come here and I say to-do. And the first thing you just want to do is to implement the dark mode. So you can just put dash just like this. Just going to first add dark mode to the app. 2, we shall just go ahead and implement. We build the UI. So design design the UI. And lastly, we're just going to implement the functionality. So here, implement the functionality. Okay. So functionality. So this one is going to be in terms of making it type. If we type something here, we can just go ahead and execute or run the code, and then should just run on this side. Okay. So now let's start with the first thing. So we have this. Let's start with the first thing of adding the dark mode to this. And for the dark mode, we're just going to go ahead and use shad. Okay, shadcn, which uses next. So let's go to shad and go to shad here in the browser. You can just go to shad and let's click on installation. Let's first install shad first. Scroll down here and you can just go ahead and add shadcn. Let me open the terminal, add a new terminal, and let's add shad. Okay, this is going to ask us a few questions, and then shad should be installed. Leave it by default, slate, and yes. So this should create shad. Okay, now let's go to installing dark mode. Just go back to shad and go to dark mode. Click on next. The first thing is installing next themes. Just click on npm and let's add next themes to our project. Just install like so. Okay, let's move on. Go and create a theme provider. So you can just go ahead and create a theme provider. Copy this and let's go to components here and let's create a new file called theme provider.tsx, just like so, and just add this code. I'm just going to drop this down here. So this, we can just now wrap this in the layout. So if you just see here, wrap this to your layout. So in the layout, just simply go ahead and add this theme provider like so. So in our app layout, just simply go ahead and let's add, let's just go here in where you are seeing children here. Inside, I'm just going to add this theme provider. So import theme provider from components theme provider. So this is coming from components theme provider. This component we just added in here. One thing you can add is the suppress hydration warning on the HTML. So let's go and do that. So on the layout and on the HTML here, we can just go ahead and specify the suppress hydration warning, avoid the hydration error, and then lastly add this button, which is going to be changing the dark mode and light mode. Get this, copy this code, and you're just going to call it, if you look at the component inside here, they call it mode toggle. So I'm just going to go in the components, create another component called mode toggle button.tsx and paste all this code in here. Change this to mode toggle and add btn. Now we need to install two components. If you just look at this, we need to install the button component from shad and the drop down menu from shad. Okay. This is easy. You can just go to components and here you can of course see how they install by simply copying this. Okay, add, and then you can add the components you want to install. I'm just going to bring up the terminal. So here on the terminal, you can just add npx shad UI at latest, add, and then we can add, for instance, the button, and then Next, we can add the drop down menu, drop a down menu, like so. Okay, so go ahead and install this. Okay, so moving forward, we can bring this into our app. This button, we can use it anywhere in our app. For instance, in the page, I can just go ahead and just bring it here. And I say mod toggle button, like so. Now, you can just like wait a second for this to finish installation in a second. And let's see. Wait for a second. It is installing the drop down menu and it is done. So going back to our app, just go ahead and refresh. You have, you see, we have this working like so. So we have the dark mode added successfully into our app. Okay, so that is our step number one, adding the dark mode in our app. Now the next step is designing the UI according to how it is in here. Okay, so this is going to be me designing it. I have no idea like if it can just like I haven't designed it or anything like that, and just want to design it from scratch. Okay, so the first thing, if you see here, we have this box. I'm going to start by creating the editor component. So in the components, I'm just going to create a new component called editor component. Editor component. Editor component a dot tsx and rfc. Now just add here h2 editor component. Okay, editor component, like so. Okay, so just get this editor component and let's take it to the page here, remove everything, and let's add the editor component, like so. Okay, so now if I just go back here, just going to bring this, we have the editor component. Okay, so the first thing we need is that we want to make the background there not to be dark because our component is more dark. So I'm just going to go to this page. Okay, here in the page, I'm just going to give a class name of bg. It starts with the dark. So in the dark, we want this to have bg slate 800. And in the light, we just have bg maybe slate 300. Okay. Now in the editor component, if right now you look at this, now this changes a little bit. Okay, you can see this. So let's just go ahead and go to the editor component. So to the editor component, give it a class name of min height of screen. Okay, let's give it a bg. So bg slate maybe in the dark first. In the dark, bg slate, let's say bg slate, we want this one to be more dark, maybe 900. Okay, and let's give it rounded of 2xl. Let's give this one also shadow of 2xl. Okay, and if we want to visualize it, because if I go back now, we have something like this. Now to visualize it, we can add padding here. Let's add padding of 8. Okay, so this would push this component outside, like so. Okay, so we have the editor somehow now starting getting into shape. So what we'll do first of all, also in the editor, let's give padding. In the editor component, let's give padding of maybe 4. Padding of 4. Okay, maybe px py of 6 and px of 8. Let's see. Okay, so this is okay. So if you just go back to the design, you see that we have the editor is divided into the header, this one which has the logo, plus the icon for the dark mode toggle, and this select here where we can select the languages. So we have, in other words, we have two things inside here. We have the editor header. So we have the editor header, and we have the editor itself. Okay, we have the editor. So for the header, let's start with the header. So we have the logo on the left, and on the right we have these two, this button and plus this select. So I would employ flex here. So just say dot flex, and then let's go ahead and give this items center, and then justify between. Okay, and yeah, so far that just like so. Now on this, I'm just going to give h2. Maybe we just name this codex, and then we're just going to have another flex on the other end, and on this you're just going to have the toggle mode toggle button, and then down here we're just going to have the select. So this one is going to be another component, select language. Okay, select language. So here I'm just going to have this select language. If I go back to this, okay, so we have like this name codex plus this side. Okay, that's not looking bad yet so far. Okay, so now what I want is to somehow make this serious, the logo sound serious. To do that, I can just simply go back to typography here, and I can just copy for this h2 maybe. Okay, just copy this. I don't know if I just need all this. Copy. I will remove some. So for this h2, give it a class name. Paste here. Now we don't need the border and the padding bottom. This maybe we make this 2x. I don't know. Let's first look at 3. Tracking tight. Let's just see. Okay, so we have here codex. Okay, like this to be our logo. Maybe we just put it to, they just make it 2. It sounds like this is much bigger. Maybe this is our logo, and then this side we have this. Okay, we can have the light mode. Okay, we're just going to be working on this, never mind. But now what we have to work on right now is this select. Okay, now we have the select component inside. Me personally, I'm not the fan of this the select component. Okay, if you just go here, this simply because is the handling of state they used here. Okay, coupling it onto, if you just go and check on the code out of the box, they are not giving us how to handle the state. You cannot even know where to add this properly. You have maybe to use the API reference. I'm not going to use this. Okay, I'm not going to use this. So what I'm just going to use, there is another component from, we can check from Tailwind UI, I guess. If you go to the Tailwind UI and scroll to components, okay, and scroll to which component was that. So you could just scroll down to select here where they have select under forms, they have select menus. I like this, the concept of really this one. I like this one. You can choose React and you can see this is really good. Okay, I like this. I'm just going to use this one. Now, if you go to the code, you can see that they used headless UI. So we have to add the headless UI and also the hero icons React. So let's start with this headless. Here, go on this and I can paste this here and go to this npm package. Okay, and by the way, these headless UI, they have really nice components. You can try them out. Okay, you can just go and see that they used to have few components, but it seems like they have added now more components. They have tabs, they have buttons now, checkbox, username. They have now so many things. Okay, so they are worth really checking out. I'm just going to go ahead and install this. Okay, I'm just going to go here, install headless UI, and also let's install these icons. Sorry, I'm just going to go and install these icons. Okay, copy this and let's go and add these icons like so. Okay, so we have added the hero icons plus the headless, this headless UI. Going back here, we can now copy this. Go copy this component and let's go ahead and I can now minimize this. Now let's go ahead and create a new component here. I'm just going to say select languages. Select languages. Is that the correct spelling? Languages. Select languages TSX and just paste this in here. So you see currently we don't have any errors simply because we have all this done so well. We have one so far, which is on to this one. Okay, we shall just look at that in a second. But so far we have this. The only thing we have to do first of all is rename this to select uh, languages, select languages like that. Let's go and bring it in the editor component to this side here. Just go ahead and add this, select languages. Okay, just import it like so. If you go back, you are importing a component's use state. It works in the client component. So going back here in this, go ahead and make this one to be use client. So on top here, say use client. Okay, so if you go back now, it should work. Okay, so we have here this. The problem we have is the width right now. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to go back the editor component. I'm just going to try to give this some width. Let's start with maybe width of, just first give this, and let's give width of about maybe 230 pixels, something like that. And let's add this here. Okay, this looks great now. Yeah. Let's go here and add flex to this item center. Okay, and space X maybe of 2. Okay, so it seems like there is a problem here. Maybe margin top. We can just go to the select languages. We see if it has anything to do with margin. Okay. There is margin top here, but there is also this label. Okay, to see what is going on, let's add this BG green 500. Okay, I see. So there is this assigned to as the label. So I'm just going to go ahead and take off the label. We don't need this to have a label. Okay, we just only need the select component. Okay, so now we have the problem of margin top, this one. Okay, just go ahead now see. Okay, so now we are good. And we can just increase this slightly a bit. Okay, you can just go here instead of padding 1.5, you can just make this 2. And they are now the same with the button. Okay, so one thing I'm just going to do is we still have a red here. We can name this as, so they're using this one to filter the we could just use the cn, but since they used this method, let's leave it. We just give it a string array, just like so. Okay, so for that, we are good. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the green here. Just remove the green. Okay, so this looks great. So this one is going to hold the languages. For now, let it just be there. We shall just customize this later on. So the header part is slightly, I think, done. So now we have the part below. So if you look at the part below, it has this BG, the dark BG. If you just look at it like that, I'm just going to go ahead and work on this other part, the editor itself. So the editor itself has dot a BG, I think like straight 400. And in the dark, let's make this BG straight 950. Okay, now inside is when we're just going to add the we're just going to go ahead and add the editor. Okay, so this one is going to have exactly the same things like this one. Okay, just like this. I'm just going to add h2 editor, and let's add some padding to this. Maybe padding of 3. Let's see. Yeah, so we have this. Now to this one, let's give it a padding bottom, maybe of 3. So here, just add padding bottom of 3. Just push it a little bit down. Okay, so inside here is where you're just going to have the editor. So if you look at the editor, is also subdivided into 2. This side the input where we put the source code, and then the output where we have this side. Now another thing I just want to add in that would be cool is to use the resizable panels. Like this could be draggable, like it doesn't have to have this same stuff here. Okay, this could be draggable. And with that, we can use Shad. I think Shad has a component called resizable. Okay, so we could just go and use resizable. Let me first go ahead and add this. and just go and add npm resizable, like so. Okay, so while it is adding, I'm just going to go ahead and import these, copy these, the usage, copy this. Okay, I'm just going to drop this. So on top here, I'm just going to add this and go where we have this. I'm just going to go to code, go and copy all this resizable group panel here. And where we have this editor inside here, I'm just going to remove this and add this resizable. Now for this group, we can first add the other dark BG slate 900 before I forget. So if you look at now, we should have the resizable panels. Let's see, we have some error. And I don't know why. Okay, we can first go here and we see, do we have any? Yeah, we have one thing here somewhere. This to be the error. First of all, let's make this one a use client. Okay, make sure this is a use client, and yeah, so you can see we have these panels, and you look at this. Okay, first of all, let's give them a full width. I'm just going to give them a full width. So on this, remove max width. I'm just going to say width is full. Okay, so I'm just going to make this equal this side. So the easiest way to do that would be get this panel and duplicate it. Get this, just going to remove this, copy the first one and paste in here. Okay, so now we have these ones. Okay, the handle. Okay, so now you can see we have these, which is nice. Okay, so one thing I just want to do is to avoid reducing to this point. You can see you have to reduce up to this. We have to have like a mini size, like it should stop somewhere, like maybe here. Okay, it should be resizable, but then it should stop somewhere like here. Okay, so if you just go to this, here there is nothing much they have given us. The only thing they have just showed us is that you can customize the handle. Okay, I think we can just add this with handle and there is sizable handle. I'm just going to go here and you can add with handle. Let's see if it's a nice thing to add. Yeah, just like to show someone that he can drag this. So let's see if we can remove add this mini size thing. If you go back to this resizable, you realize that's the only customizations they have. But most of these ones, they actually have the API on it. If you just scroll up here, you will see that saying that they give you to the docs and to the API reference. So you can right click to the docs. Okay. And then you have this here. So the only thing I just want to see is, I think this is not, I just go to the API reference. We need the API reference maybe. Yeah, so if you just scroll down here, they give you the resizable panels and you have this panel group. Okay, you can change the direction of the panel. It has a default size you can give it, and you can just see that they have panel group props. It has this autosave ID, children, class name, and all these nice things. Now what we want is actually, uh, what I just want is actually the panel. So on the panel, you see we have children class name, collapsible size, default size, initial size of the panel, and then we have the ID. We have the max size of the panel, which is by default is 100. Then we have the min size of the panel, which is by default 10. So I'm just going to pass in this prop of the min size. Okay, so I'm just going to come here on this panels. I'm just going to say min size. Okay, maybe let's say 35, and also on this, let's say min size of 35. So if we just go now check, they should reduce some particular point. You can reduce this, but to a certain point, you cannot reduce it beyond this, which is great because you don't want to squeeze it to really zero with it. Okay, so now this is great. Now what we just want is now to start working on this side of the component. So on the left, and this is where we have this, where we write this code block. So for the code block, we're just going to use, for the code block, there are so many you can use. We have code mirror. You could use something like, I think code mirror, something like this. Okay, there is code mirror. Okay, you could use code mirror. There is React. I think there is another one called React syntax highlighter. And another one, you could use React syntax highlighter, but the one you're going to use is going to be Monaco. So we have another one called, I think this is called Monaco React. A Monaco React, something like that. Okay. Yeah, so there is this one, Monaco React. You can just go to this GitHub. You could also just go to this one. I always like just going to the GitHub because you really be on the real repo. So you could just go to this GitHub of the Monaco editor for React. Okay, I think in the past I've used CodeMeter. It was pretty good. It also has, I think, IntelliSense. Okay, so I'm just going to go to, let's see, Monaco, React Monaco actually. Okay, let's just see. Mm, okay, I don't know why it is taking long to load. And if I have it anywhere here open, resizable panels, I'm just going to close these ones. Okay, okay, it is here. Okay, Monaco React, I guess should be that. I don't know why it is taking long to load, but I'm just going to scroll down here. It should just be something like this: Monaco editor React. Okay, so the first thing, we can just go ahead and install it. Okay, just install this, copy here, and let's go in here, and I'm just going to go and install this npm install Monaco editor React. Okay, and if you just scroll down, you can use a CDN. Here's an example. Note, for TypeScript type definitions, this package uses the Monaco editor package as the peer defenses. So if you need types and don't already have the Monaco editor package installed, you will need to do so. Okay, that is something. Okay. That is like they are giving us, and we're using TypeScript. Okay, so they're saying this. It seems you have installed this for, I think, purposes of TypeScript. Okay, that's what they said. So you could just go and just install this also. Okay, there is more. They just also go and install this, because they said here in the documentation that if you're using TypeScript definition and other things. Okay, so in introduction here, they're saying besides types, the library exports editor this from this. Okay, so they have the simple usage here, and in the simple usage, they simply have this. I'm just going to copy this. Okay, first of all, just import this, Control C. Let's go on top here, and then just go back here. Let's get this editor component like so, and let's go to, I'm just going to drop this down. So if you just go to this resizable, the first one, which has this one, let's go ahead and remove this and add this editor component. Okay, now if we just go, we should be able to see something on the browser. And great, we have this, guys. This looks nice. I like it. Okay, and now we have this. You can write some things like function, and you can see it has the intelligence. Greet a person, greet person, like so. And you can just say taking a name, and you can just say console.log, and you can say you have the intelligence. Okay, great. Now for the dark mode, so we would want to use the to change the theme in the dark mode and in the light mode. So they also have two themes. Okay, they also have two themes, and they have a prop here called theme, and you can pass in, for instance, vs dark for the dark mode. If you do those, you can see this one turns into the dark. And then if you see vs light, vs light, light like this, you have the light mode. So in the dark mode, would want to use this, and in the light mode would want to use this. Okay, so to be able to do that, what you're just going to do is change this according to the theme. Now the good thing, we could go to themes. If I just go here and I say next themes, just like this, go to next themes, GitHub, just go to the GitHub page here. Okay, To the next themes, GitHub. I just want to use the hook. I think they have a hook called use theme, I think, if I'm to remember. Const, and you could just have theme, and I think even set theme if you want it. Set theme from use theme. Yeah, I think they have this hook here. Okay, they have this hook. So what we do is we don't want to set the theme. What we want is actually the theme itself. So we could just come here and we say that if the theme is dark, so for instance, I'm just going to say if the theme is equal to dark, and if this is true, then we want to use the VS dark. Else, we just use the VS light. And this would just give us a control over this now, I guess. Let's first check. Okay, so you're in the light mode and we're using this. Let me just check this to back to dark, and we're using the dark. Great. And this one looks like so much dark, and it has also to be rounded. Just a second. Let me just go to this. First of all, let's add rounded to Excel to this. Okay. And maybe 400 is much. I'm not sure. Maybe 200. Let me see. 200. We just 300 would be the same as the other outside one. Okay, so just leave it at 400 to make a somehow a difference. Okay, so this side we seem we are good. Okay, now we just want to work, and this is still working properly. So what we just need is now to work on this side of the things. We have this side, and then we can just work on this side of the things. Now this side we have this text output plus the run button, and then this environment here for the output. So if I just go to the second panel, this is the first panel. We have the second panel. So the second panel is divided also into two parts. If you just think about it, it has the header. It has the header, and then it also has the body. And the body is the one that is having this hello world. Okay, so I'm just going to first put the header. So you can just say dot flex dot items center, and then dot justify between. So there you have h2 of output, and then I have the flex, which is going to have the button. I guess there is only one button. Yeah, so we have the button. Just going to use, I'm just going to use the button from Shad. So just a button. Okay, and then I'm just going to have span, which says run, and an icon. Okay, we could just have the play icon, I guess. Play icon, and here I'm just going to give a class name. Just make it width is 4, h4, and mr of 2. Let's go and see how this one looks like right now. Okay, so there is a button now here of the run. First of all, it seems to be big. Let's reduce this to we could just come here and say size, and in the size we can have the SM size. Okay, let's go ahead and add padding to this. So to the resizable panel, I'm just going to cut this, and let's just have the padding of 4. Okay, great. Now to other things, if you look at this design, you see that this output here has a different color. If you scroll to the right mode, it is in white. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is that um, I'm going to give um, I'm going to give this header a different color, and then down here I'm just going to have dot, and inside here is where we're going to have the actual output. Okay, hello world is here. First of all, to this only the head, I'm just going to give it can I give this a bg slate? Can I first give this bg white, and in the dark let's give it bg slate 900. Then to this one, only the head, I'm just going to give it bg slate 400, and in the dark I'm just going to give it bg slate maybe to 950. Let's just go and see. Okay, so this looks weird. Okay, ooh, okay. So we would have this have maybe a mean height also, a mean height of screen, like so. Okay. And now we have this let's see. So we have this. Um, mm, maybe you just have to add this to this one. Okay, and then this to maybe to this one. I'm not so sure. Mm, okay. First of all, let me just give this. Let's give it some padding bottom of 3. In fact, we could just give this space y of maybe 3. This would add some space here. But then this one, I would give this height full. Maybe I'm not sure why this one is not covering everything. First of all, let me first go back to the dark mode. Okay, maybe I will get to see what the problem would be. So in this output, I just want, so in within this one, I just want this to be 900. Okay, and this one to be 300. Let me remove anything here for now. Okay, the only difference we have to add is on this output. So this one, I just need to give it something. I just want to give it pages rate 3, maybe 400, and in the dark mode to 950. Let's see. Okay, so to be able to add this, that means the padding shouldn't be onto this. Let me remove this padding and I see. Okay, so to this, let's give it padding itself. We could just give px of 6, py of 4. Okay, that's too much. Maybe py of 2. Okay, and then to this one, let's also give it, okay, let's give it px of maybe 6 to be able to have it stayed within here. Okay, that looks great. Now I just want to change this pattern. Now we could just actually have left it to this, but we could change it to purple if you want it. Class name, let's just say bg purple 600. We could just say text slate 100, and then this is in the dark. Let's add hover. So you say hover bg purple maybe 700. So what I just want is this one, I want it to be only in the dark, as well as this in the dark. So within the light mode, they just make it bg slate maybe 900 or 800, and hover, we could just make it bg slate 900. Okay, let's see how this one looks like. Okay, and in the light mode, this becomes black. Okay, so great. Let's go back to the dark mode. Okay, so now we could just go ahead and start implementing some serious functionality. Okay, so for this, I think the height, we make it 100 view height. Here we have this as 9. If we just like make it 100 VH to fill in the whole editor. Okay, so now what we can do now, first we can start getting the, let's start with this. Can we first of all get this text we are typing here? If I type in function, can I just get this, whatever I have typed in, can I be able to get this? So let's first go and put some state. So the first state you are going to have is going to be for the source code set source source code is equal to use state. Okay, and by default just say it is empty. So what I want is to get the source code when someone is typing in this editor. So if you just go back to the here, you will just say there is how to get a value here. There are two options to get the current value. The one using the ref, I guess. Okay, using the ref. So there are two things you have to do. First of all, to focus this on mount. Okay, there is on change here. You can just have on change, and we're just going to first course use the one on change. Let me first see if you refresh, you see that this is not focused. So what we want is if someone just comes to this page and refreshes, we want the editor to be in focus, like so, like that. So to do that, we can use this. They have on mount hook. Where is there? This. If you go up here, they have this hook on mount. Okay. And to do that, we can first grab the editor by giving it a ref. Okay, so this you can just use the ref here. Okay, just get this from use ref, and then we can have this function handle editor did mount. You can just have this handle editor did mount here, and I'm just going to get this editor. So on this, we can just have on mount, and we can just call handle editor did mount. So the good thing is you can access the editor. And for now, I'm just going to give it any. Now, what we can just do after getting this editor, you can just say editor dot focus, like so. Okay, so now if we go ahead and refresh, we should have it on mount, and you can see here it starts already. When you refresh, it goes here and it starts blinking, meaning that it is now focusing. Okay, which is great. Now the second thing, let's get this the source code. First thing here, you can have two things. One is the value, and you can name this to be the source code. And another thing you can add on a change. On a change, we can write the function which is going to be handle on a change. It is going to be a function. So you can say function handle on a change. And we can just say on this, you actually access the value like so. And we can see that set source code to value. Okay, so this value is going to be a string. If you see by default is empty string, so we can just say this is going to be a string. Okay, and let's go and I pass in the handle on change, and we have an error here. They're saying the function which takes in value string is not sendable type on change, because types of parameter value and value are incompatible. Type string stroke undefined is not assignable type string. So what we just need to do is pass, I think here, undefined. Okay, and if you do that, then we have here this problem. So we can just also check if value. If the value exists, then we can now set it like so. Okay, so to check this, if it is working, we can just go ahead and console.log source code. Okay. Okay, so let's just go to the console. The console here. And let's type something here. I'm just going to type function. Okay, so you can see the function handle something and is equal here console. So you can see whatever I type in here is down here. So at least we can get the source code. Okay, we can easily get the source code, which is great. Okay, so now that we have this, we can get the source code, we're just going to leave it at that. What we just want to work on right now is actually bringing in the actual languages and put them here. Okay, we just need to have these actual languages and put them in an array, and then we can have them here. So for this, for executing the code, okay, compiling, for the compilation and the languages, we are going to use the Piston API. Okay, so the Piston API is created by a guy on YouTube called the man, something like that. Yeah, you can just say here, engineer man. Okay, you can't just have this. You can just go here to this guy called engineer man. He creates here a lot of content around software and other things. Go ahead and search for that video. It is there talking about how you created the Piston API. So go ahead, you can just search Piston API just like this, and this first link here, you can do this. There is another link actually. I will leave it in this. It is github.com engineerman stroke piston. This is the actual page for Piston. Okay, so if you just go to this Piston, there are two things he gives here in his API. The first thing is the get endpoint. The get endpoint gets you the runtime, and this runtime are actually the languages. If you just copy this, or you could just say go to this, and you see that this one should give us a list of languages. Okay, and these are the languages we can fetch and show here in this drop down. Now, the problem we actually have is that if you look at these languages, okay, they're just like 1,000. There are so many. Okay, so we could fetch them directly from here. The problem is there are so many languages and we don't want all of them. So what we do is actually just looking for the ones we want. Okay, so we could just like go ahead and look for the ones we want and then put them in an array, and then we'll be actually using those ones. So what I'm just going to do basically is just going to here, I will create a new folder called config. So I'm just going to say config slash config .ts. Here I'm just going to say const, okay, languages, okay, maybe language options, language options. I'm just going to say create here language options, okay, like so, just like this. So you could just we just go ahead and copy just like this, one by one. Okay, for instance, there is TypeScript here. There is JavaScript, there is this, there are so many. What I'm just going to do is I had them typed somewhere. I'm just going to scroll here. I have these languages here. I'm just going to leave this. Okay, you could just also copy this and I'm just going to paste them here. Okay, export const language options. So I'm just going to say language options. Okay, so when I was testing this, when I was looking at this API, I just went ahead and copied this and I was playing with it within ChatGPT here. So that's why I'm just copying this one. But what I did is going to the API, copying this one by one, simply copying like this object. You come here and copy this like this, and then I paste it into an array to create all these stuff. Okay, so these are our languages we want to consider. We have JavaScript, TypeScript, PHP. Okay, we have Python, we have Ruby, Rust, C Sharp. Now for C Sharp, I feel like there is a better C Sharp here. Mm, there is C Sharp.net, and I believe there is another C Sharp which has no .net. C Sharp. I see C plus plus. Okay, Golang, Java. Okay, so you can see that we have this C sharp. I think this is the one we should use. Copy this like so. C sharp. We don't want C sharp.net. We just C sharp. So here I'm just going to replace this with the actual C sharp like so. Okay, so I have all my languages now, and I have just crossed them here. Now, you would just, if you wanted, you could just make an API call fetching all these ones and use them direct. But I feel like there are so many, and it will not be really making much sense for our case. I don't want all a thousand languages. I want a few that are so common. Okay. So now how do I bring them here? I'm just going to go now, bring them to our select here. Okay, so right now we are rendering this array of people here. So I'm just going to come down to where we are using them. Just go down where we're having people here. I'm just going to come ahead and use language options like so. And here you have access to an item. And this, first of all, the key is going to be item dot. We're just going to use the language item dot language as the key. And if we just go back here for the value, you can see it's going to be the item like so. And then this one's going to be item. We don't have the image, so you can go ahead and remove this image. Okay, so we have this name, which is going to be item dot language, item dot language, like so. And that's it. Okay, one thing here is they have this selected. So for the selected, we're just going to say language options, and we are going to select the first one. Okay, and after that, we can use it here on this selected dot selected dot the image. We don't want the image actually. just remove the image. We just simply want selected dot language. Okay. Okay, so we should now go back to the browser and see this. Okay, so you can see like we have this here. We want to put this, want to put the version in the bracket. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the version in the bracket. So after the selected, if you go back to the language options, so where we have this span, I just want to put the brackets, and then inside the bracket, I will put item dot version. Okay. So now we have the versions in the bracket. One more thing is I want to capitalize these ones. Okay, we can just go ahead and also capitalize them. Here, capitalize. Okay. Yeah, so this they look nice now. Now, even the same thing to this selected. So to the one that is selected, the one that is selected. So here we can just go ahead and say in brackets here. First of all, put capitalize. And then in the brackets here, we just want to go ahead and add, we add selected dot version. Okay, so if we just go back, we have now the languages. Now, the only thing we just have to work on, if you select on TypeScript, you can see it is TypeScript, just like this. Nice. Okay. So you can just like now the select is working really properly and I like it. Now what I just want is if I select a JavaScript, what I just want is some code snippet should come, and a JavaScript code snippet should come, and like the default value for this. Remember, we can provide a default value if we just go to this editor component. Right now, if we just go and put anything here, okay, if you copy some code and you paste it in here, on this will be used as the default value. Okay, so what I just want is that first of all, to have each language with a snippet. Okay, so we just want to see all these languages, they should have some snippet of code. Okay, so what I just did is you just go here to ChatGPT. Okay, and if you scroll down here, I used this very snippet. I just said to ChatGPT, I have an array containing different programming languages, which is this array. So I gave this array here. If you scroll down here, after giving this array, and I said, create for me an object called code snippets with language names as object keys and the value to some function. So I want the value of each key to be a sum function. Okay. And you can just put, I said, use /n for the next line in the snippet. It went and generated this. And I just added here one thing: for every function, print out the sum, because I wanted to have like a console.log. We have to show like a console.log somewhere here, so that if we execute this, we can have something to show here. Okay. So what it did, it went ahead and created a code snippet object. You can see JavaScript. It gave me some function to run. So you can copy this. Okay, just go back to the config, and below this, I'm just going to add the code snippet. So this is the initial code snippet. This is not just like the, I can remove this. This is the initial code snippet. Okay, it's not going to be the code that you are going to be running, but what we want is if someone selects, for instance, JavaScript, it should have initial snippet he can run to test this, okay, before even writing his own snippet. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here. We have code snippet. I'm just going to say export this, export const snippets, code snippets. And for JavaScript, we have this. Then for TypeScript, we have this. For PHP, we have that. And for Rust and all of them, we have for all of them. For C++, for Golang, and all of them. Okay. So now what we want is, first of all, if I select the language here, a code snippet should just come and be displayed here. That's what we want to implement right now. So going back to this editor component, okay, first of all, we need to make sure we can get a language that has been selected within this side here, okay. We have to first get the language for starters. Okay, so I'm just going to create another state to keep the language. So const language. So this is going to be the language option. Okay, a language option, because an option has so many things. Okay, set language option is equal to use state. Okay, is equal to use state, and we can just leave it just like this for now. So what we just want is that by default, I just want to go and get the language options. Okay, and then get the first one. Okay, so we could just have a language option. The initial one, we just simply just give it this. And I can use this language option in this default language. So here I can just come and say that here we could just go ahead and say language option. And on this, we can get the language. So the default language will be this one. And now for the default value here, we need to do it dynamically. Okay. We have to do this dynamically. First of all, let's try to change the language. Okay, we could first try to change the language. Okay, we need to try to change the language. Okay, so I just want to have a function. Okay, I'm just going to have a function called on select. Function on select. Okay, and the on select, what I just want, this one should access sort of like a value. Okay, maybe string, and it should just set source code to the value, just like this. Okay, so I have this function on select, and when should we run this? What I want is, I want to pass this to this on select. You can hear we have this select language. This is going to be like the transporter function, this on select. What I want basically, if I select something here, okay, if I select something here this side, what I want is that there should be a function, because right now we could just go ahead and check this, by the way, before that. If I just go here to select language, already we have the selected language. I can remove these people here. Already we have this. I could just say console.log selected, like so. if you just go back to the console, this already has the languages. If you go here in the console, you can see if I change to PHP, you see you have this object. If I change to JavaScript, you have this object. The problem we have is that we want now this to transport it from this component to this component. So we have to send to this component a function that is going to fetch this and bring it back to this component, this one. To do that, we create like a sort of a transporter function in the editor component, this one. So we can pass in a function like this. We can pass this to here on select, and then sorry, I can just do this. We can pass in this function as on select. Okay, I can pass in this function like this. If I go to select languages, I can receive this on select. Okay, and for now, maybe we just give this on select. On select, I can give this maybe any for now. But what I just want is that when it reaches this side, why is it? Okay. So what I just want is to be able to get the language the other side. So when will this one run? So basically we have also this on change. Okay. So just going to have to create a function handle on change. Okay, like this. And this one, if you see, it simply just sets the value. So what I just want to see with this on a change function is simply getting this set selected to this. So can I just put this just here? And if you see, it is simply setting, it has access to the value. If you just look at this, on change, and there's value, and there's this, it is simply set selected. Mm, okay. We could bring um two things, I guess, from this side. We could also bring in the language option, the language or selected language option. I just go it selected language option. Okay, selected language option would be equal to the language option like this. And then we also take in this one. Now, if we just go this side and set language option, we could just come here and pass in this select language. Here's, we called it what? We called it select. Okay, just let's pass in this. Now for this one, we could just, I don't know, we could just give it to this option here. If I just copy this, we could just copy this just like so. And now mm, I would take off this and this, and then I just say this one to on select, and then this one to be value to be selected language option. Okay, we have two problems here. So here we just have selected language, and we just have to use, I guess, this. Okay. I'm not so sure if this is going to work. I don't know why this one is saying this. Language alias string to language this. Type version alias runtime undefined. Isn't signable type language version alias runtime. So here the runtime is not required. Okay, so if we just come here and we say runtime is not required. Okay. Now I don't know what is happening right now, to be sincere. Okay, we are still having this. Okay. So what I just want is to come this side of the editor component and console.log set. What is this? Set source code? No. This one's supposed to be set language. Set language option to value. Now value is going to be of type. So this, I'm just going to simply create this just come here and just say type selected option props is equal to this. I'm just going to simply export this. You could just use this here. Okay. Now this side, we could just come and use it here. Props. Okay, just import this here. Okay. So let's just go and see if this makes sense. What I just want to do is console.log the language option. So just go ahead and say console.log language option. Okay, so currently we have JavaScript because it is the default here. So let's just go ahead and type to change to something like TypeScript. And you can see we have TypeScript here. If I change this to PHP, you can see PHP is here. Okay, so now it is working. Okay, so now what we want to actually, since that we have this one, we just want to change and get the snippets. So if we just go back here, we can pass in the default snippet here or the default value. Okay, so what I just want is how do I pass in the default value? So if for instance I come here and I just call to code snippets, okay, and on this I just call by, for instance, JavaScript. Okay, if I just say JavaScript like so, This should just give me a code snippet for JavaScript. Let me just go and refresh. So you can see by default, I have a snippet for JavaScript. Okay, like this. So what we want is how do we actually get this selected stuff and then we pass in there. How do we do that? So that means here we have to pass in the language dynamically. Uh, mm, so how do we get that? So basically, do I need to create another state? Let me just see. So the problem is how to get this here, the JavaScript from the language option. Okay. So we need to be able to get the problem is when if I try to get the language, here for instance const dot log, I say const language for instance, is equal to language option dot language like this here. The problem with this is that every time I change the language, does this actually update? Let me just see. So here it says JavaScript. What if I just change this TypeScript? Okay, I think it changes actually. PHP, I'm saying as if it is actually changing on line 22. Okay, so can I use this language within this editor component here? I could just come here and I say, actually, here you want the language, like so. The problem with this is that this has the any type, okay, type string, and it cannot be used to index type like JavaScript, string TypeScript, string, and all this other stuff. Okay, but I think it should be working right now. If I try to change to TypeScript, uh, it changed, but it did not change this function here. PHP, it changed here, but it did not get as the default value here. Maybe the default value has to be okay, what is going to be the default value? Can we just get this source code? Mm, can we just add here first of all source code? Let me just see. And right now by default source code is, we could just say by default is going to be code snippets at JavaScript like this. Now what we just want is here on select, it could also just say that set source code to set source code to what? we could just go ahead and just change the source code to what? To language. I could just get here const. Code would be equal to, okay, just pass it here. We have to say code snippets at language. So here would be this language dollar language, like so. Now we could just have this type. Um, so you're saying expert has any blah blah. I don't know if I put language here, what happens? So they say here that type string cannot be used index. This cannot work, I guess, but okay. Okay, this actually works. You can see here we have this. Okay, and the language has to change because now this is JavaScript. Can we change also the language? There is language somewhere. Where is the language? Edit. There must be here language. So just say language, and we need to have this language option dot language, like so. So this should just now work. You can see now TypeScript is rendering properly. If we change to PHP, it is not changing the code. Let me refresh. So by default it has this. If I change to TypeScript, it doesn't change the snippet. Okay, by the language changes because this, you can see TypeScript is complaining. If I change this, okay, so we still have we have a serious bug because now this is PHP and this is Python, and here it is rendering PHP. What is that? Python, it is bringing for PHP. I don't know why. In editor we have Python here, but the code we have here is something else. It means like it is updating later. Let's first see. It changes on select. On select, set language option to value, and then set source code to code snippet of the language. I don't know. I don't understand this. Ruby. Now it is rendering for Python. What is happening? It seems to just we have a simple bug. If you just put JavaScript, it is still showing a different one. So just like simply messed up. Okay, so let me just use something else. I don't know. Can we just go ahead and first get the language here? Console.log language. I think just because this we don't need this language. Let's just look at the language option. Okay. Let me just look at the language option. Okay. We have language is not defined. I think it is just the console.log here. Okay. We have this. So I just want to change here to TypeScript. So here these changes. Let me first reduce on the consoles I have. How many console.logs in the select? Do I have any console? Okay, in the editor component, how many console.logs do I have? I don't know where these ones coming from. Editor component on line 24. Line 24, line 24. Okay, this one, source code. Okay, so what I just want, if we just go back here, remove everything, refresh. Okay, so on select, I just want to say TypeScript. So you can see here the language actually is still saying JavaScript, but here we change TypeScript. Okay, so there is a problem somewhere. Let's select the third one, PHP. So now it gives TypeScript. Okay. There is some problem. Okay, what is the problem? Function select, it sets this here, set language. Okay. So if we just go to the side of select languages, so I think the problem is the site selected language. Okay. And now selected language option. Okay, are we using the right thing here? Because selected is this language option. How comes when we say PHP here, it renders very well, and then in the console, it actually renders a wrong thing? Let me just remove, select Python. So here it shows Python, but then in this here, it is showing something else. It is showing the previous one. How comes? How comes that one is possible? We have language option, set language option. It is here. Okay. So this set language option, we are using it on select. can we just have this value? So this value is actually problem. So if we just console.log at the value, okay, can I just console.log on the value? Okay, so just go ahead and refresh. Just go here and say TypeScript. So the value actually has, oh, okay, yeah, at least it is saying PHP. So PHP. Okay, if I say Python, here is Python. So the value is okay. Okay, so here this should be set language option. Set value. Mm, so by the time we console.log here, it has not updated. Because now if you look at the value and the language option, they will not be matching, I guess. Refresh. So if we select TypeScript, so you can see here that on line 35 we have TypeScript, but then on line 37 we have JavaScript. It did not actually update it. Set language option. Why didn't it actually update it? Like it is always having this. I don't know why it is lagging behind, because this value is actually a right one. The value is okay. We are getting. We set this to value. We now consider the option it hasn't. So maybe in the source code, we should use this. We should use value dot language. Okay, and I don't know, this will still have issues, I guess, if you just refresh TypeScript. Now this side it is rendering properly. Okay, PHP, we have PHP here. If we have Python, okay, Ruby, Rust, okay. Great. So we have this now changing. So what are we missing out? What are we missing out? Because we are setting the source code, but we are not setting the language. So how possible that we are having the correct language? So if you look at this here, on this language, we have language option dot language. Okay, so if I just go outside, let's console this outside. You might find that actually it is updating correctly. So just, we don't have any other console.logs. Refresh here. Okay, so we have JavaScript. I just go TypeScript, and here we have actual TypeScript, and then we have PHP, the language. Here we have PHP. Okay, so this is working, and we have a lot of console.logs, 35 and 40. 35 and 40. So what is 35? Oh, this one. Okay. This works now. Okay, so now we can show different snippets. Okay, and we can now, what we need to run is this, the run function. It should just go take the language, everything, plus the source code, and just go and run this function. So working on the run function, we just need to make an API call. If you go back to this, they have this post. Okay, they have this post. Okay, we have this post. We can make a post to this endpoint, and okay. So what I'm just going to do, we could just use server action, I guess, for that matter. On this, for instance, what I just want is compile. I'm just going to have this function called compile function. Just going to be, I think, an async function. Async function compile code. Okay, or execute code. I don't know, execute code, just like this. Okay, for now I just want to say console.log executed. Okay, and I'm just going to run this on the button. When they click on this, on click, I'm just going to run the execute code just like so. If I just go here and I click on this, it says execute. So we just have to create a server action that is going to do that. So I'm just going to go here, create actions, new folder called actions. And inside this folder for actions, I just want to create, for instance, compile, maybe compile .ts, and I just want to make a post request to this endpoint. You could just say use server first, use server, and you could just say export async function, export async function, export async function, just going to say export. Let's call it compile code, and just going to do this, okay, with a try catch. Just do a try catch. Okay, here console.log error, and then here let's just go ahead and just say we're just going to execute here. So the endpoint is for, as you have seen, the endpoint is here. But if you just go back here and you go to execute the this here on this endpoint, the request must contain the language name or areas of the language listed in the runtimes, the version, and the files. Now, if you go down here, they have an example we can use. So this should be just like the options when you're just running that. Okay, so you could just go and copy until here this. Just up to this point here. Copy these options, and if we just come here, we could just make a response. Const response is going to be await, and we could just say fetch. Now we could just use fetch. I feel like we can use Axios. Okay. I'm just going to go. Let me post these options here for now. Okay. Um, I could just go chat GPT and it just say, just copy this endpoint. I just say create for me an Axios post request to this endpoint. Okay, just going for this with the following options. So for the options, we're just going to have an option object with this. With the option object, maybe this one. Let's just see. Okay. So it has the request data, it has the endpoint here. We could just go ahead and just install Axios. Let's first do that. npm install Axios. Okay. And let's go ahead and copy. We have our endpoint. You could just come and define this here on top, const endpoint, and then there is request data. So this, okay, request data should be just of that kind. Okay, and then I just going to say use async await instead of promises. Use async await instead of promises. Okay. So this is when it is getting really mad, I guess. So it is this async. Just try this catch here. Okay, so down here is going to use now this in the try catch. Just come here and add this try catch Axios. Import Axios from Axios and wait post. It takes in the endpoint and the request data. Okay. Console.log. This we have the response. Okay. Here we have the error. Okay, so I just want to go ahead and just call this. Now, if you just look at this, we need this request data. Okay, we need this request data. And if you look at this request data is having the language version, and these files is here. They have the name and the content. Now this is the source code actually. Okay, this name, I think this name is optional. The most important thing I think is content in the files. So I'm just going to go and get this one. Okay, just get this one, and this is going to be coming here, request data. I'm just going to use this request data like that. Now the type of this, I'm just going to name it any for now. Okay, so go to the editor component. On this, first of all, let's have this request data. So request data is going to be language, is an object containing this. Okay, so I'm just going to create an object, okay, like so, which is going to take from here. I'm just going to say request data is going to be language, and this one is going to be the language option. Get this dot language. Version is going to be language option dot version, and then this one is content is going to be the source code. Okay, so now we just have to do a try catch here one more time. So just say try catch. Okay, we can just go here and say console.log error, and then here we're just going to go ahead and also try to await. So const response is equal to await. Okay, execute code. So we call this compile code, and then this takes in the request data like so. Now I don't know what I get back, but I'm just going to say const result is going to be equal to await race. Okay, so I'm supposed to return something from the other thing. So in this compile, we're supposed to return something, a list. So return response dot data. Okay, then here we're also going to return this error, I guess. We can also return the error, and then the side we can just say await response race dot, should just look at the response we are getting, await response dot JSON, I guess. No, so we have this here, the result. I think this one should be just the result. Okay, it should be the result. Let's go ahead and console.log result. Okay, I don't know if this has a chance of even trying to run. So when I click on this, let's go ahead and clear everything here. The console.logs we need to clear them out. Even this one. I just want to go ahead and simply run refresh. Okay, so I have console.log3 this. So run. I don't know if anything happened. Oh, so something has happened. Line 53, we have this. Okay, we have language, and then we have the run. Inside the run, we have the code and the output. You can see it is 7. Okay, so here is, you can see the output is 7. So we get back the object. Okay, so we can destructure this object. We have the standard error and then the standard output. Okay, and then there is output, standard error, and the signal, blah blah. So from this, first of all, let's have the loader to tell us something is happening. I'm just going to say loading here, const loading. Okay, loading, set loading is equal to use state. Okay, and by default is going to be false. Okay, so if you just go down here on this, I'm just going to have set loading to true. Okay, set loading to true, and then when this everything here, just going to say set loading to false. The same thing here, set loading to false. Okay, let's just go ahead and see. So just going to run TypeScript. Okay, and I'm just going to change this one to 50 plus 50. Okay, so we just say run. Okay, so we didn't take care of the use this loading spinner. So let's go to where we have the run to this button. I'm just going to see if loading is true. So we just have to put this one. Just like this. Let's just go here and just change this. First of all, I just want to remove this on click. Just make it disabled and just say here running, please wait. So you're just going to say running please wait, please wait. I'm just going to use here the loader. Okay, and simply put spin here, animate, animate, animate spin, just like this. Okay, Okay, so here we have, I think it compiled and it has 100. So you can just go here, we'll destructure this. Okay, if you see what we get back here, we get back an object. I guess they must have given us us here. If you go back on the response, do they give us the response? Yeah. So here on the response, they give us an object of this kind. And on this object, we have run. Okay. We are interested in this run. Okay. There is this output and then the standard out. I don't know which one we can use, but they are the same on this output. If we just look at what we have actually, let's use this one. We have this we have compile run. Now there is also compile, and then there is run. Okay, so here we could just go ahead and say, for instance, let me just go and have the output. Let's just go ahead and have the output const output set output. Okay, set output is equal to use state. Okay, to use state, and at first we could give this as a string, but I think we're just going to give it as let's first give it as a string at first, but we might change this. So here I'm just going to say result. So just say set set output to result a dot, and then on this we have run. Okay, so if I just go ahead and now run this one, okay, and I could also just go to where we have the output here, down here. Let me just go ahead and just say output. Okay, so there is nothing right now. I just run this. Running, please wait. Okay, so objects are not valid as child, blah blah. Keys std code signal. Okay, so now we have to go ahead and we just need standard out. So here dot run. Okay. Dot dot output. So let's just go dot output dot output like this. Okay. Okay, just refresh. Let's say this. And we have 7 here. Okay, that's great. And if I just change to TypeScript, just put here 30 and 70, which should be now 100. Just run this. and shows 100. Great. So now we have this output running very well, but if we have this console.log twice or thrice, let me just paste it to thrice. We just have here 3 or 550 plus 10. We just have 10 plus 20. Okay, so if I execute this now, so you can see it gives me 160/30. Okay, so if you look at this one on the run and you look at this output, it is giving it like this. Okay, so we need to split this output and make it an array instead. Okay, so we have to split it at /n. Okay, so now I'm just going to come here. So this we can say dot split, and if you split this at /n like so. Okay, so if this you split it at this, is going to convert this into an array. So this one is now going to become an array like that. And now that means we can actually map through it here. Just so instead of putting it like this, I'm just going to say simply just say this, and instead we say output dot, and you can just say map, and you can just say item dot item, and we can just have this return, and this will return this h2, and this one can be a p tag. This can be a p tag, and this is the actual item. And then we can also add the key, which should also be item. Let's now try to see. Okay, so do it one more time. Let's just do 3 times. On the new line, let's console.log. Let's just say 20 plus 40. Okay, let's go ahead and execute this. Okay. Okay, so you can see now we have 70 and then we have 60. Okay, yeah, which is really nice. Maybe we could just reduce this, give it a class name. First of all, we could just give it here text, maybe SM. Okay, maybe if you wanted, you could give this a space Y of 2. Okay, and if you wanted, you could also just go ahead and add more stylings to however you want it, or you could just add it in any way. If you wanted, for instance, you could just add divide y of maybe 2, and then you say divide slate 50. Let's see. Oh, so you see, you can just like add this. I don't think it is necessary. Okay, but this is a good starting point. Now let's just say if you want to handle an error, because for instance, if someone takes in an error, we can also handle, and we can also, by the way, post something here. We could just quickly add a toaster. You could just use the one of Shad. They have a toast here. Simple with title. Let me see. Yeah, so you could just have this with action, destructive. Okay, you could just this simple. Okay. So we could just go ahead and just add this toast. Okay. Just going to go ahead installation. Just add this, just like this. Let's go ahead and add the toast with this. Could use the simple one, this very one. Button toast on click. Okay, so you run a function. So how do I run this? I don't know if we should use this one. I don't know if toast is a function. For instance, if you go and first use toast, let's see if this one works. So you can just go up here to this toast. We could just go to this toast here. First of all, we could first define it here on top. Use toast. Get this from use toast. And then down here, we can just use this. Okay. Let's see if this is going to work. On this set loading false, we could just say this toast, and we could just say here, according to how this was done on the design, you can see here compiled successfully. Okay, so I'm just going to say here compiled successfully. Okay, just like this. I don't know, I wonder if there is even any way you can pass in the styles. How did they pass in the styles on this? Or they have the variants, so you can pass in action and there is variants. Okay, so let's just say on these variants, what other variants do they have? There is default and destructive. Okay, so there is no need of this here. Okay, I don't know if that one is good enough. Let's just go and run this. And the toast was nowhere. Just going to, we could just use the normal toast. I'm just going to go and use the normal toast instead. Just go here and you say normal toast. React hot toast. I'm just going to use this React hot toast. You can just go and install it, React hot toast, and let me just copy this toaster, just this one. Otherwise, the installation we can add it React hot toast. npm install React hot toast, just like that. And as it is installing, I'm just going to go to the app layout. So inside, anywhere inside the body here, add this, get this toaster from the React hot toast. Okay, let's just go and get this. Import. I'm just going to import it here. Import toaster. It is toast from React hot toast. We have a lot of toasters. Toast. Is this toast or toaster? Let me see. Toaster. Okay, UI, no. I'm just going to say from React hot toast, like this. Okay. And then in the editor component, instead of this, just say toast dot success. Now let me just go and remove this one we defined somewhere here, and remove also this. I'm just going to say toast dot success. Okay, just get this toast from React hot toast. I'm just going to say here compiled successfully. Compiled. Okay. And here we're just going to say dot error. So here you can just say dot error, and we just say failed to compile, failed to compile the code, failed to compile the code. Okay. So we could just also go ahead and we could set the error, because you see there is error here. Maybe we first go and make some error. So I'm just going to go here and I don't put language. Instead of this, I'm just going to go ahead and just put some weird things like this. Okay, so that we just look at the error part of it. I'm just going to go to this side. So we can just go to the console. Let's run this. So it should give us the error. Okay, so you can see here, only plain objects and a few objects can be passed as client components from server components, blah, blah. Okay, so classes not supported, blah, blah. Okay, it seems that mm, mm, the error the console here. So what we can just do is we're just going to go here, leave this. If there is any error, what we're just going to do instead on the UI, we can just run something here on the output this side. Okay, we're just going to set error. So here just say set error, set error to true. I'm just going to create this state. Error set error to true. So here const, I'm just going to say error set error to use state, and I just say false by default. So just use this state somewhere. Set error true. I'm just going to go here if there is any error on the UI. So where we have here first of all is just going to say here if error. Okay, if error is true, then we just need to have this error component here. I'm just going to write a p tag here for now. Error has occurred. Error errors is where we can have this. Okay, so cut this. Let's add it into this. Okay, so for this one, you can just go ahead and also design very well like a div first of all. Can add the error and even an icon. I just add here flex class name flex items center space x of 2. I'm just going to add here an error icon just from Lucid. If you have like an error or something, exclamation, maybe this one. I'm just going to use this one, triangle alert. It is called triangle alert. So here I'm just going to say triangle alert. Class name. We could just have here this one have text, maybe red 500. Let's have this one with this 04 804 MR of 2. Could just say a failed compile the code, compile the code. Please try again. Please maybe try again. Okay. Okay, so we could just try that. And I'm just going to first make this true so that I see what this one is going to look like. Okay. Okay, so you have something like this. Let me just a second stay a bit here. Okay. We could just have this in a border. Border rate 400 or even 600. Px of 6, py of 3. And then this one, I'm just going to give it a text of extra small. Let's see. Okay, then for the icon, I'm just going to give it flex link 0. Okay. You can just give it maybe 5. Okay. So here we could just have this kind of failed to compile the code. Please try again for some reason. And we just need to set this true when there is an error. So now I'm just going to set this back to false. Okay. We just make sure if there is any problem, I'm just going to make this one a string. So if there is any problem here, we just set error to true and then we do show it there. So just go ahead and just compile. Okay, so you can see failed to compile the code and the error is now being shown here. So we can just now handle the errors and okay, this is great. We can handle the errors. So I'm just going to rectify this one. Okay, so we have one now problem, which is this for the value. Okay, for that value. Okay, if I say const lang, okay, and so I have no idea how to solve that. For now, I feel like I'm so tired. How long have we done this? Okay. I just want to go ahead and maybe host this or not. Okay. Okay. This, I think here we just need to increase the padding a little bit for the error. Let's make it 6. Okay. Great. So now this is really great. We have the app working. Okay, we could just choose TypeScript and just go ahead and run this. Compiled successfully. Why are we still having this? Is error set true? Error is false. So here we could just also set we could maybe set the error just in case to make sure that this here error is false, and here we have this error, which should show one of the two. Let me just refresh. Make sure you are providing the everything correct. Okay. Let's just go and try TypeScript. Run. Okay, so code compiled successfully, and we have 7. Okay, so you could just try. Let's try another, like maybe Java. Okay, and let's try to run this. Okay, it also gives this. Okay. Okay, so the finally our project is done. Now for hosting, I think I'm just going, you can just try to host and see the errors you get. But just try to host and see it get done. So thank you so much for watching this video and reaching at the end. I will see you in the next video.